So now let us begin with Group 1. Who are the representative for Group 1 to make a report? Yes, Mr. John. Report and question. Yeah. Okay.
So we need.
Okay. No report. Just make a short and then raise a question, and then Professor will respond, and then he will continue. Okay.
Well, thank you very much, everybody. We are coming from Hong Kong and Japan, team number 1. We have a question about true love, right? And how do we interpret it in our daily life in true love? Let me have my partner to ask the question. Hey, I need your big hand.
Thank you for a big hand. So since here we got together here, we've been looking for love among our families and our marriage, and away from all those God's love, our daily life, in our daily life, the love which I mean is in between wife and husband. So my wife is Hisami over there. And I forgot to tell all of you, among your say, booklet, our name written as only Mr. and Mrs. Jimba. Okay? My name is Hiromi. She is Hisami. So please write our names on that. And what we discuss now is at the time of romance, before and after we get married, and we were calling each other our names, Hiromi and Hisami. After marriage, we got, after all, 3 kids, 2 sons and 1 daughter. And after 7, 8, 9, 10 years, we call each other only as a facility. That is, Papa and Mama, Daddy. Okay. And after 7 years of our marriage, we got to know Marriage Encounter Group. And at that time, we learned a lot. What we learned is now love itself is between a wife and husband is a living sacrament, as quite similar to the priesthood, which living daily, every day. And I sometimes say I love Hisami under certain condition, maybe. Okay? So far as she loves me, I love her. So far as she is good to me, I love her. No, it's not the love, right? Love is a decision. Love is not a feeling. Love is not feeling, but decision to love your spouse every day, every morning, every evening. And it happens that our intimacy goes quite well when we've been feeling our love each other. Is there anything I left to tell you? Yeah, think it's okay. Yeah. Any questions?
Thank you for your report. We will go to group number 2. Group number, please go make it brief and then go directly to the question. Okay? Group number 2, please come forward. Group number 2, any representative? Or and it's open floor for anyone to ask question.
Yes, we are team number 4. We have 3 questions to Professor. Question number 1, what is the answer to the absence of fatherhood in families? The fatherhood in families. And question number 2, there's a common situations in East Asia is the working hours is the longest in the world. How to deal with it? How do our families to deal with the longer working hours in East Asia families? And question number 3, how to tell the youth what is true love? Thank you.
Yes, thank you. So, anyone else? Okay, you immediately postpone.
Thank you very much for your question and for a sharing from our friend from Hong Kong. Just 3 questions very important, and yes, it is a center of Amorist's of the encyclical too. So first, concerning fatherhood, that is much to do with the theological expression of the masculinity or of the male domination in the past. When we understood God in the context, is a male and not a female. But that's not is compatible to East Asian tradition. For example, we have a tradition of yin-yang, female and male, and not male and female. And we watch the canon of Taoism, the Tao Te Ching, and Tao is female, but it's the mother of all things. It's the force producing everything on the universe. So they took it the motherhood and not fatherhood. So now maybe there's a conflict between our Western tradition to take the fatherhood instead of motherhood from the East Asian, right? Therefore, there's a new tendency today. For example, I like our Father of Malot. He proclaims our Father on heaven, which are on heaven, and not who is in heaven. Our Heaven Father, which are in heaven. Why which and not who? Because the which is not properly grammatical, but it's who is. But he which, because which includes everything. Female, male, the universe is a thing, all kinds. God is everything. Not God, just not a man. So that's for the fatherhood. Therefore, when we return back, that the true meaning of fatherhood is what is this? That he can produce a new life. The fatherhood. In this sense, motherhood and father has the same meaning. Which father or mother that can produce a new life, that is true. So God is our father. God is our mother. Is this sense? That's for the first question. The second on the East Asian tradition, I think that's the question of much to do with our ancestor cult. Why we venerate our ancestor? Why in every family we have one altar reserved for our death, for our ancestor? Because we believe that our life is not this moment, but prolonged to the next generation and continue from the past to the future and never ended. So that's the point why the Chinese care very much about ancestor. And every Asian here have a special respect, a cult for ancestor. And that was misunderstood by Western missionaries in the past. But anyway, a true life must be true longer forever, just like the divine life. Because it participates in the divinity. That means it is eternal. So for the third question, coming to true love, I like the story of our friend from Hong Kong. And the question of the lady asked me during the intervention, why the man lover? I think that love is to be educated. Love is to be cultivated. And I take the idea of self-learning, 大学, yes, self-learning. To be self-learning, that means to cultivate yourself. But to cultivate yourself, then to cultivate your family, then you can run your family. If you have a good cultivation, then you can run your state, and you can pacify the world. Cultivation is the first, 大水之道. That is the meaning of cultivation. So love is to be cultivated. So when I said that we cannot define love in any single term, but we can understand love is a process of self-cultivation. It's the story of the freedom of love. The man did not love his wife in the beginning because what is arranged. But during the 25 years, he continued to cultivate his love, and suddenly, after 20 years, his wife realized, yes, I love you too. No, I understand what is love. Look at. So that is the story. Love is to be cultivated, just like the holy is to be cultivated. The sacred is not to be cultivated because that is from divinity, but holy to be cultivated. If you have no effort to cultivate, then there's no holy, there's no true love. Thank you.
Could you comment on working hours, longest working hours in East Asia? Has the longest?
Yes. Oh, that is not my specialty because I'm not sociologist. But anyway, I think about the concept of theology. That's a homophobia, the working man. After the fall of Adam, and God punished him by forcing him to labor for himself. That must be a punishment, according to your own interpretation. But is it not? It's not just a working, it's a way of cultivation, of realizing yourself. With your working, you cannot become you. You can become. And the second, with your working, you cannot transcend. But in Asian, that's different, because long working maybe not existent, but maybe that's a product of instrument reason. The master or the rich people force you to work longer, but you can get nothing from that. But the master get from that. He get more money if you work longer. So that's something to do with sociology. And I'm sorry, I'm not a specialist in this sense. So, yeah.
Okay. So next question. Will raise another question? This is the open floor for anyone. Or you represent your group is also all right.
Yeah, I'm from Hong Kong. Actually, already I'm from Group 4. Already asked some question, but question that I also raised in my group is that in your presentation talk about homosexuality. One of the things that we can encourage people to think is about the life, the fruitfulness of marriage. Yes, the gay couple, they cannot give birth. But we also remember in some Catholic teachings is that some couples that they cannot give birth, they can also have their fruits in other areas, such as they serve the church or in other meaningful works. So how if a person challenge that some couples in Catholic Church, they also cannot give birth? Yes, but your church support them. How do you respond to it? From my view is that, is it this group also custard and come out that whether we can use the natural law to explain to the society, to the people, because some concepts in Chinese such as yin yang, is about the complementary view. Is it the possibilities of being challenged is less if instead of use the giving the birth as a indicator of the fruitfulness? Yes, but we know that you are talking about the life, but how the life to explain to the people that the homosexual people cannot, their lifestyle cannot have the feeling of the life. Yes. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your question, especially on the question, a very sensitive question of homosexuality. We read from the introduction of the Papan encyclic. There's one paragraph. It's very striking. It's striking that the image of God here refers to the couple, male and female. Does this mean that sex is a property of God himself, or that God has a divine female companion? As some ancient religion fair hand, naturally the answer is no. This is the Pope. Because in our long tradition, that's we believe in a single God, has no companion. So the mystery of Trinity, for example, God beget himself, as he begets his own son, with no female companion. But I think that's a chauvinism interpretation, because we treat God as a male. But if we return to the cosmic principle of Tao in the East Asian tradition, then Tao is neither female nor female. We can express in female, yang, yin yang. But we can also yang yin. But what is yang yin? That's the two elements. There's only one thing that is the cosmic. Anything that can produce a life cannot be a single, but only by relation to all the factors. These all the factors could be female, as we express, could be not. For example, in biological one, some animal or some insect produce themselves without any copulation. So if we understand in this sense, then the man is not some homosexuality, but a life. If our homosexual marriage can produce a new life, we give birth to new children, it's okay, right? We don't protest. But if not, then I just said in my previous lecture, that in 40 years or 50 years, then that is the end of human species. Because we have no more human. That's the difference. So I just said I am not against homosexuality. I have a sympathy for them, but I cannot accept, especially when we legalize, make it a universal, that everybody have to follow. No, that's not the case. I respect it and I treat it as a handicap. I have a love for the handicapped people. I would try to handle them, to take care of them. But I don't want to become handicapped, me, myself. No one, right? So that is the point in the aesthetic too. The most beautiful is the most completed. Lucky of nothing. That is the most beautiful. No homosexuality or handicap, that is they lack something in their body. It's not their fault. So we have to have a sympathy for them. Right? But that is from nature, it's so we have to accept. But we cannot legalize or universalize it, making it a legal, a law that everybody have to follow. So I cannot accept that. The point that is lie is to remark. If homosexual marriage can produce a new life, okay, we accept. But in act, they cannot. They cannot do that. Okay, thank you.
Okay, next question. You also can ask in Chinese. Okay.
Regarding homosexual marriage, you said if homosexual marriage is open to nurturing life and accepting life, and be prepared to nurture life and raise children, it will be, would you say, endorsed and supported in terms of law? How would you answer that question?
We cannot do that with your written back to the beginning. We can say, okay, we have to marry someone because we want to raise or to adopt the children. But what will happen when there's no other children to adopt? If everybody are homosexual, and where we can find children to adopt, to raise, to educate them? No, there's no children there. So that's the point. So I think that's some exceptional case. That in some society, yes, the homosexuals would take care of the children, but that is the children of the other, not of themselves. But we cannot make it into law that everyone can be homosexual and can adopt, can raise the children, because there's no children to raise. They cannot give birth to any children. So I mean life in the sense of Chinese. That I am, my family name is Chen. Then I hope that you have a future that can continue my life. Just I continue the life of my father, of my mother, right? So that's the life. Life is a prolonging forever. That is the East Asian tradition. That's nice. But if homosexual, even when I adopt the children of others, that is not my life. That's adopt the life. That's the difference. Yes.
Okay, next question.
Okay, thank you, Father.
We can also use Chinese to ask the question, no matter, okay?
好，那我用中文问问题，帮我翻译一下。那个我要问的，我不是问问题。基本上，那个同性恋在科学上没有任何证据，它是天生的，它是自然的，到现在没有，遗传也没有，脑部的检查也没有。第二个就是同性恋最大的问题，我们现在在谈的好像是宗教，可我讲的是生物。同性恋如果他们要表现性爱，他用什么方法表现性爱？凸凸跟凹凹怎么表现性爱？你们有想过这个问题吗？所以这是不人道的。包括一个医生讲，肛交就是一种暴力。第三个，孩子怎么会出来？教授认为说孩子不会出来，他们认为可以出来。为什么可以出来？因为精子银行、卵子银行、代理孕母已经在等他们了。这些商机已经准备好了，所以可以制造孩子，是用这样制造法吗？第四个，我们可以领养孩子，可是孩子的权利谁帮他们发言？也就是没有一个孩子不希望是自己的父母相爱来照顾他们。所以当我弟弟跟我的孩子们讲说，我跟他妈妈吵架还是什么事情的时候，我忘了问了他们一件事情，他们每一个人2个孩子都非常紧张。
好，你等一下。
是希望他的父母亲是能够非常相爱，不能离婚的。
Okay, so they just throw it to me right now, so I'll quickly summarize what she said. First of all, there is no biological background or any proof on any homosexual is natural. Second of all, there's no sexual unions in homosexuals. And third, anal sex itself is a violent act of sex, and it's not a sex union by the act of anal sex. And fourth, there are sperm banks and egg banks ready for the homosexual to use, as well as mother surrogates for them to have the birth as well given children. 然后继续。
好， 你刚刚第一个没有跟他们讲说脑部也没有发现，
有，我讲，我直接
OK 好，
我直接帮你用生物代表都带过去了。
好，谢谢你。好，第4个就是我刚刚讲的重点，教会一直说我们要为最小的弟兄讲话，我们要为站在他们的立场。谁是我们最小的弟兄？是那些还没有出生或者出生的那些孩子，因为没有人去争取他们的人权。
Okay, and as the fourth point, the most important point is the church always say we fight for the least of our brothers, and who are the least of our brothers? Are those people who are unborn and the newborns, and who are gonna fight for their rights?
所以每一个孩子需要一个健全的家庭，要父母去爱他。
So every child needs a good family that has both parents taking care of them.
不是父父，不是母母。
So it's not father or mother.
所以这是他的权利。所以我们教会需要在这个权利上为他们发声。
So that's their right, and that's where we give out our voice as a church.
这是非常紧急的一件事情，谢谢大家。
And so that's something very urgent. Thank you very much.
非常感谢 ，Thank you very much。但是我想这个基本问题就是一个逻辑的问题。
教授，你用英文回答好了。
Okay. Thank you very much for your question, but I think that is a question of logic. We cannot make the conclusion as a premise. I take an example. If you say, okay, we can give a new life because no sperm bank. Who can donate the sperm here? If everybody are homosexual, who can give birth? If everybody are homosexual, no one. So the premise is that we have already a sperm bank exists, so I can take the homosexual life because I have a bank, I can still have a. Okay, that's a little bit absurd. Of course, today because almost absolutely everybody are just normal, so you can have a sperm. But if everybody are homosexual, no, there's no way, right? That's the first one. Second, the same. That to just insist on the right of the children to have a father. Then the one father and mother. Yes, they have the right, and you have to ask the children to have that. I'm sorry. I have my children 5 or 6 years, they don't understand, and they never ask. They have to learn. Only when they're growing up mature, they are rational, then they may ask the question, why father and mother? Why don't have. Not every children from beginning, so they have the question, and they don't know that is their right. The right to be learned. Not is natural. So that is the question. I think that is return the conclusion to be the premise, and that is not logical, you know. And we come to the first one. You insist on biological discovery, and they said that we discover nothing anomal is a brand of the homosexual. I don't know. But we do some research in Harvard University, in Oxford University. Why in Oxford University there's too much homosexuality, but not in the other school? Why in Harvard we have many people are not very normal? It's just maybe is somebody they have some problem with body, but even they don't discover that. So we never know. But I'm not a biologist, so I cannot confirm your the idea that there's no thing anomal in the homosexual. But we discover that. Even why is the church, especially in seminary, there's more homosexual in other school? Because there's only one male society, only male. But they need some different, the female. Because there's no female, so they would take one male to be a companion. And that is not a priori. This is just after, because of society. And fully a priori from birth, homosexuals, that they exist. But I don't think that is the majority. The majority, is, according to what I have learned from statistics, is from the second category. This is from education. So we discover in northern school like Oxford, Cambridge, or in seminary, we tend to have more homosexual than in the other school. And these are people usually very normal. But because they are educated in this, and they are forced to have a celibate, or to be single, or to have no other different sex partner. So they would try to take something to you know, to satisfy the natural needs. That's the thing. So I don't say that you are wrong, but I think that is your argument is to be discussed. Because I just said you take some many things is existing is so like a sperm bank and some kind of that, or the right of the children. That should be discussed. I respect your idea. Okay, thank you.
Okay, next question. This will be okay.
Okay. Yes, because I have just some minutes to take about the Papan encyclic. I put on many notes. When I worked for this paper, I read through. But I concentrated on the first part of the encyclic. That is the foundation. I call metaphor foundation of a family. So I took a many note on this for, yes, just for reference. In my mind, there's some similarity between the Papan encyclic and the East tradition. And that is the reason why I am supporting this encyclic. I am not talking about the second, the third part of the encyclic, especially on the practice, the pastoral theology. That is some controversial. But I think that in the first part, on the foundation of the encyclic, then it's very compatible to East Asian. No, for four points. The first one is the interpretation of the Pope. Then God is identified with life. It's a source of life. So he's creator. And second, he insists that human being is created by God and given the same power of co-creating. So, co-creator. And that's fully compatible to our tradition. We are the producer of new life. But we are not the first. So that's why we respect and we turn our ancestor. The third point is the new definition of life. Life is not the existing only, but in progressing, in developing, in transcending. So a meaningful life or the better life is going to the perfection, to the stage that we call the divine stage. That's we call it to closer to divinity. So why is it? The last point, I try to distinguish the holy and the sacred. God is sacred. What is produced by him, made by him, is sacred too. So life is made by him, is sacred. That's the reason we can have no right to violate this life, because this is sacred. It's different from holy. Holy is through your own effort. For example, we treat our hero as our holy, because they cultivate themselves, you make them as the example to be followed, and they save the people, they contribute a lot for the nation, for the human space, and we call them the holy people. That's the difference. So holy sanctification, or the English holy, is this mean. So marriage is both sacred and holy. So we return back to the story of the feeding of the rope. The man and the woman married, but did not love. They were arranged by the matchmaker. And the father, the mother, dutifully fulfilled their function, their duty, as society required to be father, to be the mother to take care of home, the household, to milk cow, to wash clothes, also on that, and the man and to make money. For example, that is. But suddenly after 20 years, they realize that though they are in love, they no realize they are in love. When suddenly the man asks his wife, do you love me? And after many answers, finally, yes, the wife answers, suppose I love you. And yes, I do love you. That's a true cultivation. Mutual learning to respect and to show responsibility. No, I give you children is not because that's my duty, but no, because of my love. I feel a responsibility to give because of love. So that's the difference. So I mean, a true love is to be cultivated, to be learned, and to be continue, and not stop. And romantic wedding, usually that's the highest stage of love. And maybe that is the highest and the last stage. And many story, love, romantic story end with your wedding. You are lucky to continue your romantic. But usually, the most romantic end with the death, end with the end of marriage, with divorce, because it's the highest already. Because it's no longer cultivated. So the true love, through my family, is to cultivate. So just in my case, I married only to 36 years. We try continue to learn, to understand. And my wife is a teacher. She is teaching me every day. So that's the reason I try to have one job outside of family, far from family, to escape to become student. But yeah, from my teacher, I'm sorry. But even far away, I am thinking of her. I try to return back and do not the duty, but what I think she likes. So it's the way of learning, the way of respecting, caring, sharing. All these activities show to us that is love. But there's no definition of last love or true love. That's impossible. Thank you.
Professor, we have 20 more minutes, so would you please continue your second part? We have 20 more.
Finished already.
Oh, you finished already?
Because the time already.
Huh?
It is the time. 时间到了. Just, I'm thinking that we have no more time, right?
No, we have 20 more minutes.
How many?
20 more minutes.
Oh, yes. No, there's more question. I
so,
like more question.
More question? Okay.
More question, yes. Yes, right.
Over here first, over here first.
I am running because my hearing is not very good.
Hello, Professor. And also, between my husband and myself, we can confirm that love only, the marriage, we're talking about love with husband and wife, can only be confirmed after 25 years. This is our experience.
Congratulations.
Yeah, we just celebrate our 35 years last month. So actually, it's about 10 years ago, we understand what is love. After going through the 25 years of life together, then so it's not surprise. It's not a surprise. So you have a long way to go, my dear brother. And through the teaching of John Paul II and the theology of body, we also learn what is perfect love. Under the eyes of God, to be perfect, we have to love each other fully, faithfully, and fully, faithfully, and freely. So I think this is really a theology point of view. To practice is not easy at all. I would like to listen to your human point of view. How can we practice all these virtues?
Thank you. I understood what is the last work, the human way. Yes, I'm not a theologian. I'm asked to be the dean of theological school, but I'm not theologian. When I am asked to say some work to the faculty, and I choose the theme is why I am Christian. I am Christian. That is easy because I know I am now growing on. I will die. I will not more time. And every people may be afraid of dying. Why I'm dying? Because I am thinking about my own life. But now the question is, if I know that my life is not at the end, but it's continuing, that's the difference. So that I believe, just like St. Paul. I believe in the God because he resurrected, because he lived forever. But he died, then I cannot follow. Okay, I believe because there's a new life, and that is the reason. Yes. Okay, then I go come to our family. The same. In the Eastern tradition, not theological, we believe that our life will continue through our own children. And second, we believe and we hope that the next life, as our children live, would be better than my own life. And if so, that we are lucky, a good and happy family. The prosperity, the concept of prosperity is this. And if this continues for longer, then that is our religion. So the kernel of ancestor should be understood in this sense. So you take this into the Christian theological concept. Then we say that there's one absolute life, a never-ending life. But it's be built on the true concept. The first is love, love of God, and love of man. That is the first. Jesus came to change the law. To make this commandment love is the first one, because it's the most important. That's because that is the source of life. That's the first, I think so. The second, that he teaches that the life is co-made and co-cultivated by us, and the co-redemption of human. God redeemed, but the redemption of God can be possible only by means of co-redemption. That's by our own activity of participation to this co-redemption. And family has this function. This function. My wife is teaching me, but she learn also from me. We learn together. I just tolerate her behavior. Sometimes I find very irrational behavior. But she tolerates my behavior too. Sometimes my behavior very dogmatic, very chauvinistic. You know, we have the mistake. During the coffee break, I have exchanged some view with the Bishop Leo here, and he said, for the Catholic, it's wonderful. The first ceremony before the Mass, just acknowledge of our own mistake, and in public. And in family, it's the most easy to acknowledge mistake. You cannot do in the public, especially when you are a VIP person. You could do that. But when you return back, even when you are the president of the state, you can be taught by your wife. And you have to accept that, right? So I think family is the best media to fulfill the factor condition, co-redemption, co-learning. And that is the garden of love. And only by love that we are just making our life much better, transcending our life and making our life to be more divine, to be closer to God. Thank you. Okay. So all the questions, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Question for most
Yes,
good morning.
please. You can sit down. Yes.
I fully agree with your idea about generativity, about having children, continuing life. But I am at a dilemma because in Mongolia, more and more women are getting married without that thing called love. As a parish priest, I would sometimes ask women or ladies, do you love your husband? No. I don't know him. Why? Because, well, as Mongolians, they also have the concept of everybody should get married.
Yes.
Everybody should have a child. But the reality is that there are few men compared to women. For every 10 Mongolian, there are at least only 8 women, 2 men.
Heavy
now, everywhere it's like that nowadays, isn't it? We have more women than men. And now, sometimes, if we have Lunar New Year, well, they are also like the Chinese. We celebrate also Lunar New Year. And the first question is, where is your husband? To the women. Sometimes women don't want to celebrate Lunar New Year because the first crazy question is, where is your husband? And where is your children? So, come on. So, as a parish priest, sometimes, am I going to officiate the marriage of these people even though the woman doesn't love the man? What should be our advice? What should be our approach to this situation right now? And we cannot avoid it. Every Lunar New Year, the crazy question is, where is your husband? Where is your children? And the worst answer to that is that you just go out like a cow or an animal. There are so many men out there in the field. So sometimes the problem, of course, continues. We have single parents, a lot of single women, single mothers in our church.
Yeah.
Where is your husband? Where is your husband? Where is your father? I don't know. Oh, the priest there is my husband. The priest there is my wife, is my father. Because they don't know their fathers. Because of generativity. Because of the pressure of having a husband or children at that. Where is now the single blessedness in the Catholic Church? Thank you, po.
Thank you very much for your information. I would love to move to live in Mongolia. Just joking, yes, no. But I think back to the biblical story, narrative. And in the Bible, the Old Testament, there's no monogamy. That's polygamy. Or in summertime, one wife, many men. And not only one man, many wives. And even why this? That's much to do with the concept of life. To continue, to keep the life of the Israel. So that is the point why the Isaacs had to go around to look for the same race. They cannot marry the different race because they keep their own life, right? So we wonder our patriarch in the Old Testament, how many wives do they have? Even Abraham himself. We don't know, maybe more. That's the account written, given in the Bible, right? So the point that it depends on the number of female and male. For example, if in the society there's too much male and too few female, or in reverse, as in Mongolian, too many female and too few male, then it would happen this, and that's unavoidable. Just like today in China is coming, because we prefer the boy or girl. So that knows the surplus of the boy of 30 million or 60 million boy more than the girl. That means the 30 or 60 boy will celebrate forever because they couldn't find partner. So how to solve this problem? So the point we return back to the Bible story. One man and one woman is given in the first book, that's Adam and Eve, right? But that is not what God will. I don't think that God, because just look at the story. He created only one Adam, but he found that Adam is too sad. He couldn't grow with any other partner, so give him a partner. That's the account of Bible. In the story, if Adam is still sad, maybe God will give us a second partner. Maybe, I don't know. But the point is that, a point is that they have to continue the divided life. That is the main point. So I think in one society when no more female or no more male, although very few, and in order to keep the life continuing, then this polygamy is maybe permissible. Because the priority is life, to keep life surviving, to continue this life. That is the first priority, and that is the first commandment. And how many partners? No, we don't know, because there's no restriction in the past. And we learn canon now from the Catholicism or Christianity, the one man and woman is a new one. That's not origin. Okay, thank you.
We have one last question. One more, or we end this section. One last question, because we have 10 more minutes.
Yes, it's a lady here.
我想请问一下，就是在台湾，我们因为常常经过考试长大，所以老师会给我们一些标准答案。那父母也很喜欢给孩子标准答案。
好，停。So in Taiwan, very often we have to go through a lot of tests and examinations. So a lot of time, teachers are expecting a right answers, and so our parents expecting the right answer.
那在教会里面也会常常得到一些标准答案。我想请问是，您可以给我们一些建议，是怎么样我们在家庭里面可以开始陪伴着我们的孩子思考，而不是标准答案。
And very often we also get the same standardized answers in churches.
Thank you.
So could you give us some suggestion or advices on how to teach our children to think without a standardized answer?
I have written 4 books on education and philosophy of education too, but I failed to teach my children. I have one daughter, she never obey my order. So I let her free. My wife forcing her to follow. Because my daughter doesn't like medicine. But my wife forced her to study medicine. And my daughter suffered from that. She learned, she finished a good job in medicine. But she was not very happy. So the point for me that is a concern of the life of the children. Then we have 2 stages. The first stage we can give the children the advice. But the second decide for which kind of life then must be decided by the children. Because they happy or not, we cannot. That's by themselves. They themselves, the children themselves, right? So I just said to my daughter, you decide yourself. No, she's growing up to 33 years on, and she doesn't want to marry. My wife is very worried and try to force her to marry, to meet someone. And she asked me, so no, I know I said, no, I respect. If you don't like marry, then don't marry. If you find that you are ready, then marry. Okay. I think that should be respect. And we give her. And I return back to the question of the lady about homosexual. We have to respect the right of the children. But only the children which matter, which have the capacity to think by themselves. We cannot get the 2 or 3 years on to decide for themselves because they are incapable to do so. Only those people who are capable to do themselves, then we have to respect them. Okay. So if I can give advice, it's not advice, but it's my experience that I let my children or my daughter decide for herself. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor, for your time and your knowledge. And it's a lot of information in our heads. So we will take time to digest the whole day section and his lecture. And now, Wendy has some kind of words of thank you to Professor Doan.
Yeah, we just want to say a big thank you to Professor Tran. He put things very simply, but I think he touched some depths of thinking that we need to take on board seriously in our ministry so that we don't come to superficial solutions too quickly in our family ministry. I feel this is very important, which is why we invited the professor to give us a kind of contextual analysis of how our families are what they are today in our East Asian context. So context, is very, very important. So I just wanted to say that he took a huge amount of trouble to come here. It's very easy for us. We just stayed here, came here in the morning. He left his place at 5 o'clock to catch a 2-hour journey, and now he has another 2-hour journey back to a big meeting. So thank you so much for coming. It has been our pleasure. Thank you, thank you. It's a small token, the FABC paper on the family, which is also available online, and a small token of our appreciation. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.